Hello and welcome to another Matt O'Leary NY live stream. What's going on? I'm going to be hanging out with you guys for the next hour here. I'm excited to get into it. We have the NFL draft this week. We also have some Deebo Samuel rumors running wild. I cannot wait to get into this episode. We're just going to go through the comments like usual. It's mostly gonna, I see a lot in here already. It's Deebo, Deebo, Deebo. It's been the conversation online for the last few days, and even the fake tweets I absolutely love with the fake Instagram story, I guess I should say, with Deebo Samuel and Jamal Adams texting. There's no way that's real, right? Guys, there's no way that that's real. I can't possibly believe it. But we're excited to get into today's episode. It's going to be an absolute blast. Some housekeeping before we get started. If you don't know, if you're living under a rock, on Thursday, night one of the draft, on Friday, night two of the draft, and on Saturday, day three of the draft, myself, Ryan, and Green Bean will be live streaming for all 3 days. All 7 rounds will be live streaming each and every day. Come hang out with us on Jets Talk 24/7. A lot of awesome guests. We're doing giveaways. I know I'm giving away a Manscaped package. We have also even more giveaways on top of that. So I'm super excited to get into that. Also, as you can see on the thing below, if you want your question to be jumped the line, or if you want your question to jump the line, send in a super chat. I'll get to it right away. And also, you can subscribe to the Patreon for bonus New York Jets content. We have a final mock draft Monday coming out tomorrow. We will have player cards available on each of the Jets draft picks. I'm excited to get into it. So let's hop into these, baby. Let's do it. We have a lot of Deebos in here. Luis Sanchez says Deebo, Deebo, Deebo. Let's go. We getting Deebo. All gas, no brakes. There's so much going in here. Okay. Let's get things going with Kyle. He goes, yo, Matt, if we get Deebo, you think JD gets the green light for an extension? For JD or for Deebo Samuel? For Deebo, I would say, yeah, absolutely. You're not trading for Deebo Samuel if you don't already have like an extension in place, similar to what they were going to do with Tyreek Hill. And one of my favorite things that I've seen, and it's not just like by one person, I've seen it a ton, is that there's no way Joe Douglas is going to trade for someone like this. There's just no way. He's not going to do it. What do you mean? They literally had a deal in place for Tyreek Hill, and now a couple of weeks later, it's back to no way he's going to do it. Yeah, I don't think you pull the trigger on a deal unless you know that he is going to sign an extension. Jack, hey Matt, what do you think of Alec Pierce, from Cincinnati? I think he's someone who's probably going to go in the second round. He's, I guess, maybe like, I don't know, somewhere in like my 8th or 9th favorite wide receiver. I don't particularly want to wait that long to draft a wide receiver. So if you're asking if I would like the Jets to draft him, my answer would be no. I would hope that they would draft a wide receiver earlier than that. I know that, at the top of the second round, a lot of times you're able to find wide receiver talent, which I get it. I would rather take the swing on one of my top, I don't know, 3 wide receivers than having to wait and take the swing on, I don't know, a wide receiver 6, 7, 8, somewhere in that range. So I don't dislike Alec Pierce. I would not pull the trigger on it personally for the New York Jets in the draft. Jets Forever is hanging out in here. Love it. Thank you so much. Rob says Deebo. Jets Forever says no Deebo. How much should we pay Deebo? I would guess probably in like the ballpark of $25 million is probably what it's going to be. Jets World says, I can't wait until Thursday for a Deebo trade. I will go insane. Yeah, you know what? I think it would have to happen before Thursday. There's no way that it happens. I feel like on draft night, that would be nuts if a trade like that gets pulled off. Man, that'd be pretty wild. Jerome says 4 days. Yeah, I can't wait. It feels like we've been waiting forever for this trade, for not this trade, excuse me, for the NFL draft to come, and now it's finally here, and I can't wait for it. That video in the club of him was different. I thought Jamal did us crazy, but damn. Yeah, he very much so did not seem interested in the idea of coming back to play for the 49ers. That was wild. I don't know if you saw it, but it's been making its way around online. Vin, he loves himself some Jason Morrow, man. Need the Deebo hype to stop. Will never be as good as Jason Morrow. No way. Lynchpin 924. Hey Matt, if KT and Hutchinson go before our pick at 4 and we go Sauce, would you go JJ or wide receiver at 10? I like going wide receiver at 10 and maybe Mafe at 35 or 38. Thoughts? Um, so personally, I don't think the Jets are going to go with Sauce Gardner at 4. Like, I don't dislike Sauce Gardner. He is my favorite corner in this class, and it's not particularly close. He's an excellent player, and I just don't think this staff is going to prioritize that position. But let's play the game for a second. That is so hard. That's a really tough question. Maybe you are. You know what? I think I would take the edge rusher at 10 and then trade back into the first round to get a wide receiver like a Jameson Williams or a Traylon Burks or something like that, depending on who falls, or who knows, maybe package both 35 and 38 and you get high enough and you're able to get Drake London or someone like that. But um, that I guess that's why I don't want to go with Sauce at 4 is because now you're playing that game a little bit with edge rusher. By the way, Boye Mafe, I'm not even positive he makes it to pick 35. He could, but I feel like he could sneak his way into the first round of this draft class. We have a super chat. Let's go to Green Empire Lawn Care. Thank you so much. What if instead of 10, we traded next year's first? This is for Deebo Samuel. I would assume that you're probably going to have to do more than that potentially. Um, I don't think they would do it just for a 2023 first. And then like, okay, but let's say it's a, I don't know, a third this year and a first next year or something like that. Because I think they would look for assets in this year's draft class. They don't have a ton of picks in this class. Then I think you would seriously have to consider moving back from pick 10 and getting another first round pick for next year in that process. Like, so moving back with maybe Pittsburgh, let's say, falling back that far. Um, so that would be my guess on what would have to happen if it was next year's first. I I think I would probably rather just get it over with and do the pick 10 this year, and you might have to get something in return there, like maybe it's a first and then like a pick swap where you're giving up a third and getting back a fourth or something along those lines. But um I don't want to go through a year where you're not having a first round pick for this team. But since the Jets have two this year, they are in a very unique situation. Yeah, she says, I'll be watching you guys on Thursday live from my epidemiology class. Legend, absolutely legendary stuff. Derek would rather have DK Metcalf. Okay, I mean, like, I guess that's fair that you would rather DK as opposed to Debo. Is DK going to be available? Because right now it feels like Debo is very much so the most available. Um, so we'll see. John pops in with the super chat. Let's go to John. Perhaps the Jets are not desperate for edge at 4. No contract with Fant and Becton has been injured. Pick BPA and need with Neal at 4 and then wide receiver at 10. I don't think I would like to do I don't think I would do that with either Evan Neal or Ike Ekwonu. I think before Lincoln Tomlinson signed, that was a completely different story because then you could play Fant on one side, Becton on the other, have one of the rookie start at left guard or right guard. But I think after you did that, what do you do? Are you trading Becton? I think that would have to be the move, which I don't know if I necessarily want to do that or would be looking to do that. I think the Jets they need their fourth guy to be a major impact guy. And I'm not saying that Icky or Neal wouldn't be that. I feel like it's screaming edge to me. It really is. But I look at edge as a huge need. Also, I don't know, I don't think we should diminish that. Yes, Carl Lawson is coming back, which is great, but they have nothing really on the other side of him unless you're considering Bryce Huff, but I like him as a more rotational guy. Vinny Curry in a more rotational role, I think is fine, but like they need another stud. So I'm not quite there yet. Yeah, I mean, I kind of just answered this one, but yeah, I think you do. I think that would be the move. If you take Ike Ekwonu or Evan Neal, like we just went through right there, then I think you are moving on from Mekhi Becton. Again, I'm not saying that I would necessarily want to do that. Um, I just think that would be the reality of the situation is that I would be hard pressed to see them move on from George Fant, who they like a lot. I think they would want to get a deal done with him. I think if anything, I would say that Becton is probably playing on the right side this year, which that's not an awful thing, but I don't I don't think that your draft I don't buy it. Like I know some people are saying that Icky is still very much so in play if he's there for the Jets at 4. I would be surprised if they did that. Maybe I'm wrong, like, on draft night on the stream, who knows? Maybe that is, something that I'm talking about where, like, I'm really surprised that that's the case, but again, it just I really think the defensive line, is what's gonna do it for me. We got another one. Thank you so much for the super chat. What do we got? Gator needs his gat. That's a great YouTube name. KT slander makes me crazy. People are afraid to take him. Would have passed on Micah Parsons for similar concerns. Both are studs, game changers. I agree. I think that Kayvon Thibodeau is a game changer. I am more than comfortable pulling the trigger on Kayvon Thibodeau at pick 4. I hope he makes it to pick 4. The more I read, the more it seems like the Detroit Lions very much so have him in play at pick number 2, which obviously isn't great for the Jets. Now, if they were to take Kayvon Thibodeau 2 and 800 goes 1, I I don't love I've made this pretty clear. I don't love Trayvon Walker. But I would think Jermaine Johnson would probably be the Jets pick at 4. If like and Trayvon is probably going in the top 3, which thankfully he's not going to be on the board for the Jets, but I would think that Jermaine Johnson would be the pick at pick 4. You can make a case for Sauce, you can make a case for Icky or Evan Neal. My guess, again, just what I think is that it would be Jermaine. Jermaine's not even my edge for 3, I guess. He's my edge 4. So I guess that's fine, but whatever. Mumtaz is in here. Let's get Mumtaz going. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. He said, saw a 49er fan video yesterday in a club. Someone bought Deebo is staying sign and signaled no. Also, Kittle tweeted picture of him and Ayuk indicating that it's up to them now. So yeah, 10 looks like it's going. Yeah, it doesn't feel like Deebo's going to stick there because everything that I've heard is that Deebo Sam or the 49ers rather were willing to pay Deebo Samuel. He just doesn't want to be there. And whether it's the usage of him being used as the wide back or whether it's dealing with the fans, he said he was getting a ton of backlash and some racist comments towards him, which is awful. Unfortunately, it tends to happen everywhere, which is not right, but it does. I maybe he is available, but something's going to have to happen quickly because I don't think on Thursday he's getting moved on night 1. I think it would have to happen in the next 3 days if he is going to move. Yeah, so I thought Debo tweeted the Jamal tweet was cap. Okay, not surprised there. Still funny as hell though. I was joking with my buddy, and I was like, Jamal, I want to live in a world where Jamal ends all of his texts with either hashtag Prez or all love. Unfortunately, New York is not a whole lot better. Or I guess in Jersey too, but yeah, it's that's also not gonna that's not great. There's another one that I wanted to get to. What wide receiver do I want at 10 if no trade happens? I guess Garrett Wilson is my favorite. I like Jameson Williams, but I would be lying to you if I wasn't a little bit afraid of the ACL. I like Traylon Burks more than most. Drake London is a little bit scary for me, but I would understand the Jets' logic of taking a player like Drake London who could be a red zone threat like that and a jump ball threat. Like, just because he's not my favorite receiver in this class doesn't mean that I don't necessarily see the fit, because I do see I do see the fit. We're going to go to Albert. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. These are coming in quick, so I'm going to try to get to as many of these as we possibly can. Very much so appreciate it. He said Terry is best value. He had the worst quarterbacks. Terry is best value. He had the worst quarter. Terry, who are we talking about here? Oh, Terry McLaurin? Okay. My guess is we're talking Terry McLaurin. I if he's available, sure. We could absolutely have that conversation. It's just Deebo's the big one right now because um he seems like he's most likely to be on the move here. I agree with Mike too. By the way, people are underrating Karlaftis. I significantly agree. He is my third favorite edge in this class. Um, I think he should be a top 10 pick. I don't think he is going to be. I think he goes later than that. I've seen mocks with him not even in the first round, which that sounds crazy to me, but I agree with Mike here. George Karlaftis, I think, is going to be a good player in this league. I think he should be a top 10 pick. Ant Jet, Ant Jets 82. Thank you so much for this super chat. Glad I'm able to catch a live stream. Enjoy the content, Matt. Keep up the great work. Ant, I really appreciate it. It's an absolute blast doing these live streams and really all the content, but doing these live streams too, especially on Sunday night, getting these going. I want to see how many of these we can continue to do. I want to try to continue these over the summer. During the season, might have to change the days around because, like, I don't know, on a game day, it's probably going to be a little bit tough to get a live stream in with a post game and all that stuff, but definitely trying to work these in. And I appreciate all the love here. It's an absolute blast. I say this to anyone who listen. It's the busiest time of the year right now because the Jets have 2 picks in the top 10. I love it. Let's see what else we got in here. There was one that I just saw that I wanted to get to. Oh, here we go. Hey Matt, how you're having a great can't wait for yours, Ryan and Green Bean draft show Thursday night. So excited for the draft. A great day, I'm assuming. Thank you, Philip. Again, love all the support from you guys. Really appreciate it. I am having a great day because it's draft week. The countdown, ever since the season ended, the countdowns were for free agency and the countdowns were for the NFL draft. We are so goddamn close to the NFL draft. Oh, any draft day traditions? In college, me and my friends made it like a Super Bowl party. Eat all the junk food, drink all the beer, still keeping that alive, but with smaller group now with work schedules. Yeah, I mean, for 3 years in a row, we're doing the live stream. I did a live stream actually the year prior, actually the 2 years prior. I've live streamed every single draft, the first round at least, since 2018. The first one was on my Facebook page back in the day. 2019, I believe, was on YouTube on my channel. I think it was early Matt O'Leary NY YouTube days. And the last two have been on Jets Talk 24/7. I will definitely have a few drinks. I will definitely try to place some bets. I don't know why in New York, it's like on FanDuel, DraftKings, all those, they don't have any markets available for the NFL draft. So I might have to find a way to get some bets in because that's one of my favorite things to bet on during the year. This is an interesting question from James here. Why trade for Deebo when Jameson Williams will most likely be there at 10? Deebo doesn't even want the running back role he was so elite at. So he had 1,400 receiving yards last year. Receiving. He also had yards running, which about like 300 plus, which is good. But to just dismiss his receiver abilities, I think would be a mistake. You can take Jameson Williams at 10. You can take Garrett Wilson at 10. You can take Drake London at 10. It's just a risk. You know Deebo Samuel is an elite level player. You have no idea if Jameson Williams is going to be an elite level player in the NFL. You could think he is. I think he's going to be very good in this league, but you don't know that. Deebo Samuel is good right now. That's the difference. Good question. I believe an hour before. So I want to say 7 o'clock. If the draft starts at 8, yes, we'll be live at 7 o'clock on Thursday. Friday will be 6 o'clock because I believe it's a 7 o'clock start. And then whatever is it? It's noon start on Saturday. I believe it is. So we will be on an hour before then. So more than likely 11. But an hour before, just chatting it up, talking, getting ready, and then through the entirety, we'll be in there, man. We got another one. I missed your analysis. Why London is scary. He gives more room for error for a quarterback, and Zach had big, tall dudes at BYU, so high fastballs will get caught. See that aspect I agree with, Mumtaz, where the jump ball threat and the red zone threat I think is definitely beneficial. The thing that I am nervous about is if he is going to be able to separate at the next level. Yes, he was able to do it at college. The people who say he couldn't separate, I think, is a mistake. But I am curious to see if his jump ball threat that he was at USC translate to the same level, because I think he needs to be at that same power forward level in the NFL that he is now, or that he was in college rather. But my fear is that it's just going the step up in competition if he's going to be that exact same carbon copy guy. I think he has a chance to be, but I prefer other receivers' skill sets over his. For instance, the route running with Garrett Wilson, the pure speed and deep threat of Jameson Williams, and with Traylon he's my third favorite at least at this point, is his playmaking ability. Um, I don't dislike Drake London, and again, I would probably be okay with him as the pick at 10, but I have a little bit more of a concern with him versus the other top 3, because I'm, I guess, concerned or curious to see how some of his things like that jump ball ability that he's so good with, if it's going to translate at the next level when the cornerbacks that he'll be going up against are bigger, stronger, faster. I hope it does for his sake and for the Jets' sake if they draft him. Let's see what else we got in here. Um, there's a ton of comments flying through. Uh-oh. 7 o'clock booked on the schedule. Love that. Deebo Diva based on what? Because he doesn't want to run the ball like crazy, I guess, but I don't know what we're doing here. London is Mims. I don't know. I don't know about that. Here we go. Look at what Diggs did for Allen. Let's do the same thing and get Deebo for Wilson. Yeah, that's another thing. The veteran, the people who are so against the veteran wide receiver. Um, if you're trading for a guy who's already established, where it may take a rookie a little bit longer. Sure, maybe someone hits like Jamar Chase did as a rookie or Justin Jefferson did as a rookie, and that's phenomenal. But even with Elijah Moore, who I like a lot, it took him about half the season to really hit his stride. So, I don't know. I'm with Lucas on this one though. I think I'm more than okay with it. If it comes down to there's no trade on draft night, then I think wide receiver is the second thing that I want to hit, with edge being the first thing that I would like to hit. Jameson Williams won't be ready to play until November at the earliest. Looking at 2023, you don't draft in the first round to have him put on ice. Um, I don't know if November is the earliest. He's been ahead of schedule, so I think he would probably miss a little bit of time, but maybe it's more like October-ish that he is coming back. I think what makes him a little bit more appealing in the first round rather than someone who, like, I don't know. Let's just say, for an example, someone took him in the second round. He's not going to make it to the second round, but let's use it for example. The fact that he has the fifth year option makes the missing a year a little bit more palatable, because you get that extra year versus only having him for 4 years and then I guess technically really then for 3 before you have to pay him. Chris says, appreciate the content. I live in Nebraska, so I have to go to the internet to hear Jets fans speak my language. Love it, Chris. Thank you so much for tuning in. That's great. Jets fans in Nebraska all over. Um, if Falcons take a certain wide receiver, do you think the Jets pull the trigger for Deebo then? On draft night? No, I would say no. I don't think we see a deal for Deebo Samuel on draft night, if that's the question here, John. I think something would have to get done before, or even like that's a quick turnaround because they pick eighth. So you're saying that the Jets, in the span of 9 minutes or 10 minutes, however long the clock is for them at pick 9 and 10. So I guess it's really almost 20 minutes at the absolute most to get something done? No. Yeah, I don't buy that. We got a super chat in the book or a super sticker in the books over here. Thank you so much for the super chat. Hope you enjoy the content. Gene says, wouldn't even think about it. They can have 10 for Debo for the simple fact that he already has transitioned from rookie to the pros. Enough said. I think that's a fair way to look at it. I really do, because as you said, these wide receivers are lottery or these draft picks in general are lottery tickets. Yeah, I like a lot of receivers in the first round. There's five receivers that I like Olave too. Not a pick 10, but I like him in the first round. There's five receivers I'm pretty comfortable with, but Deebo Samuel can put up 1,400 yards in the NFL in a similar offense to what the Jets are running, by the way. And also, yeah, Deebo doesn't want to run the ball as much. Okay, fine. You have Braxton Berrios for the gadget stuff. That's why you brought him back to be your punt returner, your depth wide receiver, and your gadget guy. It's not like they don't have other guys on the roster who could do that kind of thing. I don't buy this one, John. I don't really care about that 40 time. And this is, as I just finished up saying, it's a very similar offense to what they were running. I mean, Mike LaFleur was just there as his passing game coordinator 2 years ago. He was good as a rookie. He got hurt, unfortunately, in his second year, but I don't look at that as an issue. I really don't. Carlos says Olave is the sleeper. I like him a lot. I think he's going to be a good player. I could see him going to either Green Bay or maybe Kansas City a little bit later. Rob D says, "Is there a chance a rookie wide receiver becomes better than Debo?" Yes, but those are slim odds to say the least, and we don't know how long before the development occurs. That's a great point. You're hoping that one of these guys you take at 10 turns into Deebo Samuel. And also, Debo's 26. It's not like you're trading for a 31-year-old Deebo Samuel. Madden Mobile Tip says George Pickens super underrated. There's a chance I think he goes in the first round, but I guess the reason why I'm concerned with him is coming off the injury. Um, that scares me. Could a team like Green Bay or Kansas City or someone at the back half of the first round maybe take a swing on it because of how good the rest of their roster is? Yeah, but I don't think you can draft George Pickens and be like, this guy is a starter from day one. I think that is very, very risky coming off the injury. Talked about Alec Pierce a little bit earlier. He's like my wide receiver 8 or 9. I don't really want to take a wide receiver in the second round anyway, guys. So he's not really someone that I have in mind for the Jets. And I'm not a double dip at wide receiver guy either. I think it's something that you just got to grab in the first round with one of the top 4 or 5 guys and try to get something done there. Oh, and says when you switch teams, it can go either way. He would be nice to have, but probably not the price being floated around. Okay. I was looking for the super chat above, or the question above you rather. Sorry. We lack the over the top speed, but we also lack the height and at wide receiver, I guess, which is more important. Each system's different. So you could really sell me on both, to be honest with you, because the Jets don't have someone who can go up and get the football, which Zach Wilson really thrived at BYU when his receivers would go up and get the football. He would kind of throw things up for grabs at times, and his guys would come down with it, which that could really help a young quarterback. But at the same time, I think speed in this system is super important too, and route running ability. So you could sell me on either or. I guess I would probably lean speed based on what we know about Joe Douglas and what we know about Robert Saleh and the offense that they're looking to run. There's another one in here that I wanted to get. Thoughts on trading back into the first round for Linderbaum? Don't hate it. I think that would be how I would do it, or trading back from 10. Um, I'm not taking him at pick 10. But if you are like, let's say you trade back with the Saints, right? And you get both those picks and you give up pick 4, and you gamble and you take Jermaine Johnson at pick 10 and he's there. And then you take a wide receiver, and then after that you go Linderbaum. Okay. Or if you package picks up and you move up a few picks from 35 and you're able to get Linderbaum. Okay. I'm not, like I said, I'm not taking him um with only him as the other first round guy. I think you also need a wide receiver in there, but there's a world where you can make that work, I think. I think just more consistency, AM. He says not wide receiver related, but very curious. What do you need to see from Quinn Williams this year to justify a big extension? Just some more consistency. Like, I would like to see that sack total up around double digits. It doesn't have to be 10, but like in that 8 plus range, and just being a factor week in and week out. I thought there were times where he flashed that last year, but his sophomore year in 2020, when the Jets were significantly worse, was much better than his third year in the league. So I would just like to see him be a little bit more consistent this year. And then that would be worthwhile for me to get that extension. I think based on who the Jets brought in, and if they add another edge rusher early, that will significantly help guys like Quinn Williams and John Franklin Myers in the middle. Duncan says we can't miss at 4, 10, 35, 38. The rest of the draft, you can take a bit of a flyer on players. It's a good point from Duncan here. You need these guys to come in and be starters, at least right away. You need them to be good. 4, 10, 35, 38. So yeah, I'm hoping for, if you stay, let's play the game, you stay put. I'm hoping that you're getting a starting edge, wide receiver, safety, and linebacker. That would be my hope for these picks. Vinny Curry over under 2.5 sacks. I would probably take the under, just because, I mean, he didn't play last year, but before the injury last year, even at the end of his career in Philly, he wasn't playing a ton, but he was productive. He was getting after the quarterback when he was on the field. I love him in a pass rush situation. Just go in and wreak havoc. But I don't hate at all having veteran depth like this. I'm not expecting him to put up monster numbers. Like, those days are long gone, but like, I don't hate having Vinny Curry, potentially taking a young edge rusher that you take in the first round under his wing and helping him develop. No, I don't think you take McBride, based on free agency. I think tight end, if you're going to take another tight end, I think it would be on day 3, like in the 4th or 5th round. Yeah, another good point from AM here. Pay Deebo now. Zach Wilson's cheap. When Zach Wilson extends, it'll be time to draft a wide receiver, and Deebo will be off the books. Yeah, that's kind of the plan, right? You have this time where your quarterback isn't making significant money, so you can give out these big contracts. You hope Zach Wilson turns into a $40 million a year quarterback. When that's the case, it's significantly more complicated to have an expensive wide receiver on your roster. I don't know if I buy this, Steven. I think Linderbaum's been one of the better setter prospects to come out in recent years. Is he a little bit undersized? I guess so, but I don't look at his play strength as an issue, to be honest with you. James Cook with a 3rd round pick. I'm not as high as on James Cook as a lot of other people are. Dalvin Cook's brother. I don't think I would use a 3rd round pick on a running back. in this year's class. That's probably the earliest that I would start to look at it, but I would prefer waiting until like the fourth round and trying for like a Tyler Algier or a Brian Robinson from Alabama. I would prefer both of those guys over James Cook, to be quite honest with you. This is also fair. We need linebacker more than center. I agree with you on this, by the way. I am not comfortable with CJ Mosley and Quincy Williams as your starting two linebackers. Quincy, I think, isn't very good in coverage. Um, and he comes up and makes plays in the run game and hits really hard, and he runs all over the field, and he's fun to root for. But I think he's better in a off the bench, like rotation kind of role. I think they need a young guy in here who could actually play and cover. I'd be nervous if they go into the season with those two as their starters. I think you need to take a linebacker relatively early, again in the top 40. I think it's that big of a need when looking at this team. That is never going to happen. Quinn Williams is not going to be a 15 plus sack a year guy. There's no way. That is very unrealistic expectations. Deebo led the NFL in yards per catch and yards after the catch per catch. Okay. Um, yeah, that's not surprising at all. He's dynamic with the ball in his hands. He'd be so much fun, and that's a good thing for a young quarterback. Is you can have, I don't know, Debo do a little 5 yard route over the middle. Zach Wilson finds him, and that 5 yard throw turns into a 20 yard gain because of what Debo can do after the catch. Bryce Huff over under 6 sacks. I would take the under. I don't think he is playing a regular enough role to get that mark. I think he'll have a couple, maybe like three, but I don't think he is a regular. So I don't think he's going to be able to get 6 sacks. That's not to say I dislike him. I think he's fine as depth, but I don't think he's going to play enough to hit that 6 sack mark. Yeah, good question here. How many wide receivers go in the first round? Easy over five. Right now, I think the line's at 6.5. I think six receivers go in the first round. I would say in no particular order. Garrett Wilson, Jameson Williams, Traylon Burks, Drake London, Chris Olave, and then I think you either get Christian Watson or Jahan Dotson in the first round. Maybe both, and you get to seven, but I think six would be my guess. We got another super chat that just came in. We're gonna scroll down, try to find this guy. Soreless76 says people need to chill out about Becton not being at voluntary workouts. I guarantee you he's not sitting at home doing nothing. Family over football. That's so true. Like there's so many silly comments online about Becton missing these voluntary workouts. So it's not like he's doing nothing. He's number one, he's in Dallas working with Duke Mayweather, who's been his coach and is a very good coach and someone that Joe Douglas trusts. It's a voluntary workout, or when his wife is 8 plus months, or a girlfriend, sorry, is 8 plus months pregnant. If I had the option where I'm with my wife or girlfriend who is 8 months pregnant, and I could either do what I have to do remotely or close to where I am, or travel in a plane halfway across the country to do it, I would say, you know what? I would communicate it though. I would say, listen, I'd call up Joe Douglas and say, listen, my girl is, she's gonna give birth soon, and in the coming weeks, who knows, something could happen earlier. I want to be here for it. I don't want to risk flying across the country. I'm working with Duke. We're doing X, Y, and Z. This is my workout regimen. This is what I'm eating. This is my plan in the training session. And like I said, I'd be open and honest about it, but I'm not getting on a plane and going halfway across the country for voluntary workouts. I wouldn't do it either. Um, in order for solid defense to work, we need pass rushers and linebackers. 38 Leo Chenal, 38 Harris from Alabama. Yeah, so one of those two guys at 38, I guess. I'm hoping you're not saying both linebackers. I don't want to double dip. So if you're saying Leo Chenal and Harris in the second round, that's a no from me. But if it's one of those two at 38 or 35, then I'm good with that. Good question from Yoshi. Does quarterback go top 10? Yeah, I think so. Which quarterback will that be? I think is a little bit up in the air. I think Malik Willis is probably the first or best quarterback in this class. But could I see a scenario where Kenny Pickett comes first because he's safer? Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Okay. A POV from Jack. We trade back from 4 for 2 mid, late first. Grab Karloftis at 10. Burks and Linderbaum with the other picks. Scene and Brees Hall with our seconds. Kind of pipe dream, but whatever. Replace Brees Hall with a linebacker, and you sold me. I don't want to take Brees Hall in the second round. But if you replace that with Leo Chenal, sure. That's my tweet. You stole my tweet. If Zach Wilson grows out the mullet, he's throwing for 5,000 yards. I said that on Twitter. Thomas, steal my tweet. Scott's going to the Jets draft party. Enjoy. Linebacker at 69, Muma, Harris, Anderson, Asamoah. I am not sold Muma, Harris, or Asamoah is going to be there in the third round. Oh, good question. What is your prediction for offensive ranking this upcoming season? I'll go 16, right in the middle of the pack. 16. How's that? It's a little bit of a cop out, but 16. Panthers taking Pickett. Honestly, I think they would take Pickett over Malik Willis just based on the pre-draft process. I think that's what they would do. I'm not saying it's the right move, but I think that's what they would do. I would. I'd be surprised if Jermaine Johnson was the pick over KT. I think if the first 3 picks were KT, Aiden Hutchinson, and Trayvon Walker, then I would think Jermaine Johnson's the pick at 4. McGovern is mediocre at best. We need a center. I think he's okay. Mediocre is a little harsh. I'm okay with taking like a mid-round developmental guy this year if you want to do that, but I don't necessarily look at like, oh my God, you have to come away with Linderbaum. If there's a way to do it where you trade up or move back, okay, but I'm not like it's not a absolute definite need for me. Okay, we got a 49er fan in the chat. Just curious what you would think is fair compensation for Deebo. Pick 10 is not enough for me. I'm biased. LOL. I don't think you're getting a whole lot more than pick 10 based on what we saw Devontae Adams go for and based on what we saw Tyreek Hill go for. I think if you're asking for pick 10 plus, or if that's your expectation, I think you're going to be disappointed. Yeah, I would think pick 10 and maybe like a pick next year would probably be where I'm at. But I think you're gonna be very disappointed if they do trade Deebo because I don't think it's gonna be more than the value or that much more than the value of pick 10. Knobcraft comes in. Thank you for the super chat. He says, has this offseason been full of the fan histrionics or what? Is it not enough to be satisfied to see the team moving in an organized direction? I think that's definitely a big plus here is that we are seeing the team trending in the right direction. There's a lot of things that they've done that I've liked. It's really dependent on what happens here in the NFL draft. I definitely look at the ones that I've really just ran through. You need another starting wide receiver. You definitely need another starting edge. You need another starting linebacker. You need another starting safety. That should be your first 4 picks. Beyond that, that's when you could add in your depth on the roster. I wouldn't take an interior defensive lineman earlier than the 3rd round at the absolute earliest. I wouldn't take a running back earlier than that. Um, Center, maybe, I guess there's a world where you can sell me on moving up for a center or moving back, but I'm not, if I'm just staying put with my 4 picks at where they are, probably not doing center at that point. But um, I think for the most part, fans would agree that it's been an improvement. I think it's just we want to see some more wins on the board at this point. This is also true. From old Dave says McGovern was a lot better when AVT got better and JVR left. That's true. The whole line got better when GVR left, and AVT did get better as the year went on. You would, so if you're packaging 35 and 38, that is about the same value as pick 15 or 16. So it wouldn't be for a late. If you want a late first, do round pick 35 and pick 69. Who do you want to play week 1? Um I don't really care who we play week 1. I think in my prediction video I said Jacksonville. We have another super chat in here. Want to get down and grab from Philip says, would you give pick 10 and Mosley for Deebo in a 2023 third? I don't think CJ Mosley's contract is tradable. I'd have to look, but I don't think you can move that contract. Um, yeah, I don't know what the here. I guess I'll try to pull it up right now on the side over here. What his cap hit would be if you were able to move it, but I don't think that is a possibility. Let's see. If the Jets were to trade him, they'd have $4.5 million of dead money, and I guess it would free up $13 million. But his base salary is $16 million for this year. So 49ers would be on the hook for a ton of money. I don't see that happening, unfortunately, Philip. I don't think that's that likely. We need to get a running back and a wide receiver to replace Deebo. We need that 10 and 69. You guys have plenty of picks. Oh, okay. There's a 49. I was confused for a second. Okay. You want to do pick 10 and 69? I don't think you're getting 10 and 69. Um, yeah, I'd be really surprised if that were the case. If you want 3 picks, I think 35, 38, and 69 is a little bit more likely, but I don't think 10 and 69 is really all that likely based on the value. Um, I'll pull that up, the Draft Tech value chart. So pick 10 has a value of 1,300 and pick 69 is 245. So that would be 1545, which is essentially almost the 6th overall pick. Now, if you were to do 35 plus 38, so that's 550 plus 520 plus 69 is 245. That is 1,315 points on the value chart, which is essentially a little bit more than pick. It's in between pick 9 and pick 10. Like I said, I'd be really, really surprised if you're getting that high of a value. And he follows it up. I'd rather have 35, 30, and 69 than pick 10 solo. Okay. So then I think that's more likely. If you would rather do that, then I really think personally that that's the 2 options. Essentially 10 solo or 35, 38, and 69. Um, for the Jets, I'm okay with doing either. But if you're from the 49ers perspective, would rather that, then okay. I don't believe this. Deebo is better than Hill and Adams. I don't think that is true. Um, Mosley literally was top 5 in tackles. He's not average. No, he's pretty average at this point in his career. I don't think tackles is a great way to say if a linebacker is good or not. I think he's fine. I don't think he's as bad as what PFF was trying to make him out to be with some of their grading, but he's not really great in coverage. And they really struggled in the run game overall. So I don't look at him as, what he was pre 2019. Is he a starting caliber linebacker? Yeah, absolutely. I think he's fine. I think he's fine. I think he's pretty good. Maybe even a little bit above average, but he's not an elite level linebacker at this point in his career. Are you concerned with Debo's injury history? Not really. He was only really that 1 year, his second year. He played, I think it was 15 plus games in year 1 and year 3. So I'm not really concerned with that. No, that guy seems like an absolute head case. I would not take a gamble on Kadarius Toney. Thank God for Dave Gettleman taking Kadarius Toney over Elijah Moore, though. This is all as a prospect. That is just simple. That is simply not true. I don't believe that. Maybe Zach Wilson doesn't pan out, but coming into the draft, I don't look at Zach Wilson as a prospect out of BYU and Desmond Ritter as a prospect coming out of college in the same vicinity. That is just simply not the case. Is Debo worth all this money for 1 year of 1K plus productivity? What I oof. Uh, okay. We'll pull up the numbers. Oh, as a rookie in 2019, in 15 games, he had 802 receiving yards in 2019. It was pretty solid numbers. He was where in receiving yards on the team? Second behind George Kittle. George Kittle was over 1,000. Debo was the leading wide receiver at 802. They didn't really throw a ton. Jimmy G threw for 3,900 yards, almost 4,000, but still significant, a big jump on second on the team. You have George Kittle at 1,000, Debo at 800, and then Emmanuel Sanders at 502. In his second year, he had 391 yards, so 50, essentially 56 yards per game. Then obviously took that jump up to 87.8 yards per game. Yeah, it takes time for receivers to develop. I mean, he's 26 years old. It's not like it's a guy who's approaching 30 and only had the 1 year of 1K productivity. I would say, yeah, he's worth the money. Silas chimes in with, "What's up, Matt? Your videos make my day every day. Just want to let you know that. Have a great day, bro. Really appreciate it. That means a lot. Thank you very much for the kind comments. It really goes a long way. I appreciate it." We have time for a few more. We got Just Jets recording after this, so I'm gonna hang on to 8 o'clock. Jets media in the chat. Yo, what's up, man? Oh man, I know he's pumped up for the draft. He was live earlier. Richie from Jets Media. Absolutely love to see it. Here he is again. Who's ready for the draft? I'm amped up, dude. I am ready to go. Can't wait for this draft. I think Deebo will be traded on draft night. Really? Okay, I don't. I think if he is going to get traded, I think it would be earlier. Ooh, interesting from Corey here. He says, I don't think safety is a big need for us. People sleep on Joyner just because he was hurt last year. Him and Whitehead will be very solid. See, that's the thing. He's coming off a year with injury. I don't another year off. Are you gonna be okay with that? I think you need more there. You're like an injury away from having to put Ashton Davis out there, which ain't it for me. Do you want to die, Mr. Downtown? Can we take a shot of drink of choice anytime Greenby mentions the tight end during the coverage of the draft? I would not make it very long through that draft. I'd be blackout probably pretty early, but that'd be a lot of fun. Oh God. Imagine the Jets are on the clock at 10 and you suddenly see the pick is traded to the 49ers. I'll lose it, dude. On draft night, could you imagine? Because I have it on with no sound on the TV right above where the camera is over there. Because obviously I'm on the live stream and the chat would be going nuts. That would be an all-time Jets YouTube moment. That would be tremendous. Snowball wants the Jets back to Queens. I don't think that's very likely, unfortunately. I would love it for selfish reasons, being on Long Island, but I think they're going to be in Jersey for the foreseeable future. I don't see that changing. Okay, Yoshi, in a good way or in a bad way? I need to know if you mean this in a positive way or in a negative way. In a positive way, Kayvon Thibodeau, Garrett Wilson at pick 10 would make me lose my mind. That'd be so much fun. I would say for those two. In a negative way, Hamilton would be bad. I'd be very upset with Kyle Hamilton at pick 4. That would really bug me. Um Linderbaum at pick 10. Not that I dislike Linderbaum, but if they came away, if the Jets did Kyle Hamilton and Linderbaum at pick 10, that'd be like Mike McCagnon level, where it's the best guy fell to you, and that's how you ended up with years of Leonard Williams, Quinnen Williams, Jamal Adams. So, another good one in here. It's Stingley. Yeah, Stingley scares me, man. There is high upside. I am not saying that there's no upside with Derek Stingley. That's not what I'm saying here. The injuries just scare the life out of me. Liz Frank injury is nothing to mess with. That is scary. Here's one. KT at 4, Wilson at 10, Brisker seen at 35, Clay Walker at 38. You're speaking my language, man. I would be thrilled if that was it. Oh, dude, she was missing the draft. He says, "Pray for me. I have a softball double header day of the draft night. Good luck. You better be checking your phone in between innings." All right, I got time for a few more in here, and then I'm gonna hop out and record Just Jets. Do you like any Rutgers player for the draft? I like the tight end. He is a 50-50 ball kind tight and ex-basketball player. Ex-basketball player stuff. I don't know a ton of Rutgers prospects this year. Well, one's not jumping out to me right now. Like I might be missing a very obvious one. I don't know. There's not really one jumping out to me. Oh, this is a good one from Drippy Douglas. McCagan told me he would take Jordan Davis at 4 and Stingley at 10. I would take a swan dive off my roof if that were the case. Philip says, what trades will be made in the first round? Oh, okay. I think the Saints are looking to trade up in the draft. I think the Jets at pick 10 are a candidate to move back. I think the Giants are a candidate to move back. I think the Steelers are a candidate to move up. I think they'll be trying to get Malik Willis. I think you can make a case that the Packers, with all their draft assets, could look to move up for a wide receiver finally in the first round. So yeah, those are the teams that are jumping out to me right now at this moment. Yeah, so I would say I guess Giants, Jets, Packers, Steelers, Saints are teams that I would look for to be on the move. Yeah, I just answered this one, but I think the Steelers trade up to take him. Great question. What am I drinking during the draft night? I don't know. I have not decided yet. I'm doing Elijah Craig tonight. Probably some form of bourbon, but I haven't decided yet. Maybe Wild Turkey 101. I feel like it's gotta be something high proof. I got time for a couple more. Ooh, Raw Power says Buffalo Trace. I don't have any, but maybe I should pick up Buffalo Trace for the draft. That'd be pretty sick. All right, I'll do two more questions, and then I gotta hop out of here. So Joe says bigger need safety or linebacker, also bigger need OT depth or IDL depth for later in the draft. This is a really interesting question. Mm. I would probably linebacker, but yep. I'm gonna stand by that. Linebacker's the bigger need. I think they need someone to play on the other side of CJ Mosley. Safety is also a pretty big need, though. And I would say offensive tackle depth before interior defensive line depth. I don't really see that. Why? Because you lost Foley Fadokasi. You need more interior defensive line depth. You signed Solomon Thomas. You have Quinn Williams, John Franklin Myers, Sheldon Rankins. You brought back Nathan Shepard. Not that he's any good, but you still brought him back. I think they have some depth there. They have Jonathan Marshall, who they took last year, who's a freak athlete. I don't think it's as big of a need as some are leading it on to be. Okay, we got time for one more. I'll do it randomly. Last one. Up. I'll do one more after this because it was super chat. I got to get to the super chat, so I'll do this one quick. You think we pass up on Neal if he drops to 4? I would like Becton to play, but also Neal is ridiculous. Neal is a very good prospect. I don't think they're going to take offensive line, whether it's Ekwonu or Neal. I would be stunned if they did that after they signed Lincoln Tomlinson. We'll close out with this super chat. Love all the content you create, Matt. Do you think we could trade up from 4 or 10 and get some rebreast for draft night? I don't see them trading upwards in the draft, but if they were to move back, I think if pick 4 to move back to where the Saints are picking with both those picks in the mid rounds, that would make sense. Or supposedly the Eagles are interested in pick 10, the Packers, excuse me. The Steelers, the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think could potentially look to move up to pick 10 if Malik Willis is still on the board. So that is going to do it for me on this live stream. Love each and every one of you guys tuning in. It means a lot to me. New episode of Just Jets drops tomorrow. We are doing draft predictions. I have a mock draft Monday on the Patreon. I have my final mock draft with trades coming on Tuesday, and then Thursday is the big day. Thank you so much. Love you guys. I'm Matt O'Leary. Subscribe here if you're new, please, and I'll talk to you next time.